Hello, everyone. I am here in my Portland home with my lovely family, Patrick and
hi?
Stanley. Can you wave hi? Can you wave hi to everyone?
You say hi?
No, you don't want to say hi?
Yeah, I just said hi.
Thank you. Oh, that's so nice of you, Stanley. I am here this Saturday. I've been having a little bit of a break, so I haven't really done much training wise, so it's kind of nice to just hang out with the family. This morning we went to the farmers market and just kind of hung out and had fun. So I'm here to answer any questions you may have. So if you guys want to, I have to make sure that I have it set up so that if somebody asks a question, I can see it. How do I do that? Live chat. There we go. I think I got it set up. Hi. Yes. Hi, Elise. So thanks for joining, everyone. This is pretty much the excitement of what we do on weekends. We just hang out, don't do much, spend some time as a family. Tonight on the menu, we are having nachos. Pork nachos or beef nachos?
Brisket nachos.
Beef brisket nachos that Pat started early this morning. And we're going to have, just some beans and what else? Any vegetables, hopefully?
Onions and peppers.
Onions and peppers.
Avocado.
I don't count avocado as a vegetable. Do you guys think avocado is a vegetable? I think that's a healthy fat. You want to say hi? You want to blow everyone a kiss? What do you think? Woo! Oh, you spinning mommy around? Yes, because you love to be spun around. All right, here, we're getting some questions. So I will look at these. And you guys, thanks for all the tips. Last time I did this, I know that you guys said to use the computer, and it is much easier. Stanley is doing great, aren't you, Stanley? You're 14 months old. Mwah, yes. And he has his molars in already, and he's eating all sorts of big kids' food, and he's spinning me around in the chair. Are you going to get back into the tri world? I get that question a lot. Yeah, I don't think so either, Stan. Really, I enjoyed my time doing triathlon when I was doing it, but I just I don't have any desire to go back to that. I really love what I'm doing right now. I love running. I obviously would like to be a little bit better right now, but it's exciting and something I'm really passionate about improving and working hard at. You want to come up with Mama? Okay. You can't touch the computer though, okay? Which is going to be really hard for you. Have I played video games? I don't know if I've ever played a video game, actually.
No, you used to love Angry Birds.
I did play Angry Birds, yeah, that's funny, isn't it, Stan? Did I know as a child that I wanted to grow up and become a triathlete? I did not. I actually grew up wanting to be a swimmer. And then after I decided I wasn't good enough at swimming to be a professional athlete, I then decided I was going to do something else. I actually wanted to be a mathematician for a while. And then I changed my mind and became a CPA, actually. I worked for Ernst & Young for a couple years. Oh, some people are. Stuart Little is up in the UK, up late. Say thank you for staying up late. We hope we're entertaining. I don't think I'm entertaining. Yes, wave to him. How did my legs recover from the marathon? Actually, pretty bad. I was fighting a little bit of an illness when I was recovering. Oh no, Stan, did we lose him? We did not lose him, but I think you're gonna have to get down so that we don't just automatically quit this. I love you so much. Okay. I know. Go ahead. I was recovering from a little bit of an illness, so I think my body took longer to recover muscle-wise, and the marathon is just it's a really hard event, and you have a lot of little micro tears that happen when you go that long. When watching Kona last week, was I getting the itch? Definitely not to get the Kona itch. I did not have that itch. I went to the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Go Badgers. I have so much pride for being a Badger. The only thing that's come close to that, I guess, I obviously have so much pride representing the USA, but there's also, there's this level of just a group, I guess. And that's what I really got as a Badger. And I'm getting that with the BTC group as well, which is pretty amazing. Oh man, why did this go like this? What is your advice on training to be stronger in the closing miles of a half marathon? Same as a marathon or any race, you want to train. A lot of times you can do a workout where you'll go race pace for, maybe, I don't know, X 90% of your miles. And then the last 10%, you want to try to exceed the demands of competition in your workouts. And then when you get to race day, don't go out faster than what you've prepared for. Go out at the pace that you have prepared for. And then it'll be easier, hopefully, to close. And a lot of times I go into the mentality of negative split. You're going to have to pick it up. You're going to have to pick it up because it's always going to get harder as you go on. So if you also have that mentality of you need to pick it up, you can almost trick your brain into thinking that at the end you're going to be able to go faster. Patrick, when is your cookbook going to be released?
Working on it. We're looking for a publisher.
He's looking for a publisher. So that's pretty good. Do you have a outline or anything, or what do you have?
There's an outline. There's a whatever. All this stuff is. The wheels are in motion.
The wheels are in motion. What's a plan for winter training? So right now I'm taking a little bit of a break, just trying to get healthy. So I just right now I'm not doing much. I swam maybe twice and biked twice since the marathon, so haven't done much. And now I am, this next 2 weeks I'm probably going to be doing a little bit more, maybe a 20-minute run, and then I'll swim for an hour the next day or something, and then build. I actually really love winter training with the Bowerman Track Club. It's actually my favorite time. I think the workouts we do are really exciting. I know you want to come up, but you can't touch the computer, sweetie. Maybe Dad can play with you.
Come here. Okay, let's go in your.
You love the piano. So the winter training with the Bowerman Track Club, I love. We do some like hill repeats, and then we also do some running on the grass where Jerry marks out some like mile repeats that we do, and I always question if he actually measures it correctly or not. So it's always fun to kind of go there and work hard, and everyone's kind of getting back into fitness. So everyone has to help each other. And it's just a really fun time to be a part of the group. The Island House. What is the Island House? The Island House, which is the hat I'm wearing, it is a boutique hotel in the Bahamas. And I'm actually going there in a couple weeks. I'm so excited. It's amazing. I think they have one of the best restaurants I've ever been to. Above their restaurant, it's called Shima, and they have all these curries, and it's just amazing. I've been to some Michelin starred restaurant, and I think it's up there with at least the top 2 restaurants I've ever been to. What do you think, Pat?
Yeah, the curry's on.
The curry's out of this world, but I do suggest not getting. I think it's called the fire curry. Jungle curry. It is so spicy, and they warn you, it has like 5 fire signs, and we got it once, and way too spicy. And the hotel as well has like a 25-meter pool and a workout facility and a spa. It's just a great place to go and relax. What do I think of the Vaporfly 4%ers? I love them. I think they feel really fast. I really do think that they help out in your running. I think they help your legs recover as well, which is really important, especially in the longer distances. During my off season, I'm this is my first kind of off season as a runner, so it's been a little bit different. I probably will do a little bit more biking and swimming, and spend time obviously with my husband and my son. Stuart Litter, I don't know what your question was. It says, was Chicago a BA of? Don't know. What did I learn about myself and my training after running Chicago? Chicago was an interesting race for me. I really believe that I trained and was prepared to run a faster time than I did. I thought I was, ready for 2:30 or under. I went in a little, just not at 100%. And I think what I really learned was, I've heard this over and over again from people like Amy Craig, who I train with, that, the marathon, to have a perfect race, it's almost like the stars have to align. Like, you can't have anything go wrong. You really have to, everything, the littlest things add up in a marathon because it is so long. So, if you go in and something goes wrong, you could have a bad race. And I think that's, what I learned from that marathon is that, going into a race, you really have to make sure everything's, perfect, and that you're healthy and that you're ready. And when you have those opportunities and everything is going well, to really take advantage of those. How long is my recovery post Chicago? Jerry will give me about 6 weeks where I kind of have freedom to do what I want. But at the end of 6 weeks, I need to come in ready to be fit enough to do the workout. So, it's definitely not just taking time off. For me, the off season will probably be, and recovery will be, I did about 2 weeks of basically nothing. I would say I did a little bit, like an hour swim here, 30-minute bike ride there. But, I'll just slowly build back and probably just, spend a little bit less time worrying about always being off my feet. So, I'll be walking around with Stanley more, taking him outside, not worrying so much about my recovery in this post Chicago time. Pat, any chance you'll do a channel of just you cooking and your recipes?
Sure, that's a possibility.
He said it's a possibility. We do have some more recipes coming up. Quite a few. Actually, one I think we should do soon because he has one of this tea that he makes that's pretty good. Helps with, I think, recovery. Am I going to race New York City, Talbot? Talbot, come on now. You know this. I'm not racing New York City as it will be too soon after my race. But Talbot, we did miss you in Chicago. Maybe you're my good luck charm and you need to start coming to my races. Do I do much trail running? I don't do a ton of trail running. I like running on soft surfaces, but a lot of times, trail runnings, you have a little bit chance of rolling an ankle or something like that. And Shalane Flanagan always says, you don't take a Ferrari off road. So for her, she, I try to listen to her advice and, stay on surfaces that hopefully we won't get injured on. Sorry, guys. There we go. Any tips for off-season triathlete? If you live somewhere cold, which I used to, I suggest, doing something outside. Try cross-country skiing, or, you can spend some time in the pool, a lot of time in the pool if it's cold, working on drills and technique and things like that. Do I ever plan on doing the Birkie? I do not plan on doing the Birkie. For those who don't know what the Birkie is, it's a really long ski race. How long is the Birkie, Pat?
55 kilometers.
55K. So Pat might do it one day, but I am horrible at skiing, just horrible. Was Chicago just a bad day at the office or a kick up the arse? I think you need 2 points of reference at least to make a line. And I'm not counting New York because I didn't properly train for that one. And, we'll wait for the next marathon. For me, I really believe I was better than that performance, but it only matters what happens on race day. And, you can't make excuses. You can't go back and do it again. So it was what it was. And I think we have to wait and see what happens in the future. Did I run cross or track in college? I did run a little bit of track and field. You can't come up. I know you want to, sweetie. I actually started running in college my junior year. And then I did 2 years of cross as well. Why don't I come to Japan to participate in the Tokyo Marathon? I would love to. But the choices that I do for which marathons always depend on Jerry and kind of how my training's going. My favorite ice cream. Okay. I was just having this comment to somebody, Matthew, about I wish that they had more ice cream flavors with marshmallow. I love marshmallow. I think it's my favorite dessert. So, but all the marshmallows are like Rocky Road ice cream with chocolate. And I kind of want like a vanilla base with marshmallow and a fudge swirl. But I have yet to find that. So I'm trying, I've written to some ice cream companies asking them to create this flavor, and I just haven't heard any response. What a bummer. Am I going to be in Atlanta for the Olympic trials? I will, Eric. Yes, maybe I'll see you there if you're there. Oh boy, this is a hard question. All-time favorite meal. Really hard. I would just say, 9 times out of 10, I request a salad because I always feel like there's not enough veggies. Pat and I have actually had some chefs come in and cook for us. We had Alan Murchison come in. We had most recently Alan Lim. I'm realizing that all these chefs are named Alan, spelled differently though. But every time they leave, I tell Patrick, I go, I love what they make. I just wish they used a little more vegetables. What am I doing for recovery day to day? I think the best thing for recovery is really, time off your feet. Sometimes just an easy float in the pool, just getting in the pool. Sometimes, I'm just bringing Stanley in the pool and we're playing in there, and just being in that water, I think helps with recovery. Massage, dry needling, all these things I think are great for recovery. And I think a big thing that's overlooked is hydration and nutrition in recovery. My go-to meal the night before a race, I think we have a YouTube episode on this meal, and it's Pat brings a rice cooker and we just make a big thing of rice, vegetables, lemon, and cheese and make it in the hotel room with, then normally we buy like a rotisserie chicken for some meat. Any desire to run Boston after the Olympics? I would love to have the opportunity to run all the majors. I think it would be really cool. I've been reading more and hearing more and watching more people get their 6 stars. And I think it's, pretty incredible. And each course is so different and exciting. And Boston especially has so much history, and it's in the US, and, Des just won it, and Meb, it's just all these things that really make marathoning exciting, and, people out on the course, and it would be amazing. Yes. But it would not, I'm going to say like a 90 some percentile chance that it would not happen before the Olympics. Do I have said in 2024 as well? It's hard. Pat and I really want more children, and it's hard to say what we do. We're actually thinking about looking into adoption so that we don't have such a big spread between children and things like that. So I would love to, I think we have to see how these next 4 years go, obviously, and then kind of reassess. And, I would love to compete as long as I can if I'm healthy and able. How many weeks did I do over 100 miles? In this build, so like we did like a 12-week build, and I would say I had quite a few over 100. I had, I'd say 4 that were over 115. I don't know. I'd have to guess. Maybe 8. What do you think, Pat? 8 or 10? Does the Pacific Northwest bother me in the winter? I thought I would be really not annoyed, but depressed maybe by the weather in the Pacific Northwest. It rains a lot. It's known for being dark, but I actually find that when it's raining, it's still a little bit bright outside. It's not actually super dark, and I haven't gotten that. And when it rains, it's not that hard usually either. It's more of just like a drizzle, and so it doesn't actually. It hasn't bothered me yet. I'll say that. Where should you start if you want to start running competitively? Suggestions for finding a coach. I really like to look at groups. So I like training with other people. I like training with people who are better than me, people that are going to push me to be my best. It can be very confronting. It can be difficult at times, but I really believe that's what makes us a good athlete. And so for me, if I were you, I'd look at maybe, are there people or groups that, maybe a local run store or something, or a run club in your area that maybe has people that you could train with, and maybe look at that. Where can fans meet me? I try to do some meet and greets when I go and do things. I'm actually going to be in New York during the New York City Marathon, and I'm going to be at the Expo one of the days. So I'll be posting about that. So that'll be a way to meet me. Was there a stage when I was a part-time athlete, and what were the main restrictions on your performance from this? Yes, I was a part-time athlete for a while I was a part-time or full-time, I guess, accountant as well. So, I really felt at that time that's what I needed. Just financially, I couldn't afford to do professional athlete solely. So for me, I needed to do that, but it definitely hinders on your performance. For me to be able to be a full-time athlete and then to actually be able to as well have Patrick supporting me and Stanley, and to be able to do all that is a huge performance benefit. What's the worst running advice I've ever been given? What do you think is the worst advice I've ever been given about running, Pat? Pat says he doesn't know if I've gotten bad advice. Maybe somebody just telling me to stop.
You get that advice a lot.
I get that a lot. Have I tried the Pegasus Turbos? I have tried the Pegasus Turbos, Derek. I actually did a review of them on my YouTube channel. Or no, did I? Yeah, I did. I actually really like them. I think they're a great shoe, especially for someone who doesn't want to spend a lot of money on a race shoe and a training shoe. I feel like you can use them both as both a racing and a training shoe. Seeing as the marathon is strength related, do you reckon I'll do more strength specific workouts for my next marathon? I was doing a lot of gym work 3 times a week. We don't do super heavy lifting. I know that some people, when they with the marathon training, they do super heavy lifting type things. And we talked about that, about doing that. And, there's just a lot of new factors that I was doing in this build. Highest mileage I've ever done, the marathon workouts, longer workouts than I've ever done, longer long runs than I've ever done. And, everything was just so new that, we didn't want to change too much and have too many variables. We really needed the body to adapt. Is Vomero still my everyday trainer? I've been doing Vomero a lot of Pegasus as well. And I kind of like the elites as well right now. What has surprised me most about marathon training, and what has been worse than I expected, and what has been better than I expected? I think, the biggest thing that surprised me was when I kind of started the build. We did some really long workouts, maybe 12 miles of work, but it was at race pace and it felt so slow, and I was begging to go faster. And Stanley,
that was a toy movie right there.
Oh, are you sure?
I'm positive.
It sounded like a little
like
toot.
A toot. Yeah, I know.
So I think the biggest thing that surprised me was just, how slow that pace felt. But then, when you have to get into the race, it feels much different. So that was pretty unexpected. Do you have, being a Nike insider, do you have any insight on when the Vaporfly 4% might be available again? So the new Vaporfly 4% Flyknit is actually the same. It just has, the upper is different. So it's just a Flyknit upper. So that should be available now for you to purchase. How many days a week do I strength train? So I'm normally doing 3 days a week in the gym of actual weights, like very strength focused. And then I'd say 3 of the other days a week, I'm doing some other little activation things. So a little bit of core, a little bit of glute. So those types of things I do almost on a daily basis. I did go for a swim lately. I actually joined this master's group that I was swimming with when I was pregnant. It was so great to see them again and to swim with them. But you lose fitness in the pool quite quickly. Will Kipchoge break too? I think Kipchoge is just such an amazing individual. Really a thankful, a good, hardworking person, and he's somebody that I really like following. And it'd be awesome if he could. I think he definitely has the potential to. But I've definitely learned that in the marathon, you do need a lot of things to go right to have those perfect races. And now that he's had the American record or the world record, I think he might, maybe go do some races that aren't fast, and but I have no idea. But I think he has the potential to do it. What would have I done differently to have a better performance in the marathon? I really believe I had a great training block. I just had some factors that race week that I think played a factor in the outcome of the race. And some things are out of your control. Sometimes things are in your control. And I feel like I did everything I could to be ready. I did watch a little bit of Kona here and there. I did not sit and watch the entire race, but I did watch it. Sorry, guys, my computer. There we go. I'm having trouble scrolling. Oh boy, you guys have asked a lot of questions. Okay, how do I go? What's for dinner this evening? So I started out this broadcast telling you, but we're having nachos with beef brisket that we've had in the slow cooker. So that's pretty exciting. Stanley loves avocado, so he's going to be happy. So that's pretty exciting. You work a 9 to 5. How do you train for a marathon? I think, you got to get up early. You got to get those, runs in every single day. And I think having consistency is really important. So try to run at least every day. Get up, do the workout. When I was working, I like to get up. I'd get up at 4 a.m. and do my workouts because I always like to do them before I got to work. Because a lot of times you come home from work and you are tired, you're exhausted, you don't feel like I'm doing that. So a lot of times, I think you get better quality if you do it right away when you wake up and you just feel good about yourself the whole day because you've done your workout. And then, really try to jam those bigger workouts in than on the weekend when you have some more time. Do you think working on your speed will help make the marathon a little easier to reach 2:25? I do. I definitely think working on your speed is a huge factor in having good marathons. That's a big reason why this past year I ran, a 5K on the track and 10K on the track. I think, that definitely carries over into the marathon, and you definitely need that speed as well. A lot of times you don't know in the marathon how it's going to end, and you need to be able to close fast. And so you need to be having that speed. How many marathons do you recommend per year for an amateur? I would never consider doing more than 2 a year. So it depends what you're doing. I really believe that to have the correct builds and to have recovery time, 2 per year is probably adequate. What's my daily routine for staying healthy? That's a loaded question. It's just long. I don't know if I could answer that all right now, but sorry, Pat's talking and it gets so confused when I hear his voice because I think he's talking to me. So, for my daily routine to staying healthy, I before my runs, I make sure that I activate my glutes. I make sure that I do some dynamic warm-up stretching. I have a YouTube little thing about part of those that I do, just grabbing my knee to my chest, knee, heel to the butt, things like that. Doing some, kicks, I guess, and things like that to warm up and stretch the body. And then as well, I did do a lot of activation in the glutes and a little bit in the abs as well to make sure those are working. Am I coming back to try? I get that question a lot, and I have no desire to do that. I really love running. I'm really passionate about going out there and just running hard and seeing what my potential is. I definitely haven't reached my potential in running. I know that. And I want to see what my limit is. How do you train for a marathon on treadmills? I've never done that on a treadmill. So I don't know. I think you could do it similar to running outside. I would just get super bored. Maybe get some good music and then listen to that, or find a friend to run next to you on the treadmill so you have someone to talk to. What is the next planned marathon? Yeah, haven't discussed that yet. That's something that Jerry definitely decides. And right now I'm taking a break, and then I'll come back. And then once I come back and we get a little bit of fitness, then we'll take a step back and we'll kind of look at, okay, where are we at? The trials are this date, working backwards, what marathons make sense. When and where are the U.S. trials for Tokyo? Is that how Team USA is selected? Yes, that is how Team USA is selected. The top three from the trials will qualify, and it's in February of 2020 in Atlanta, Georgia. My favorite movie. I have a horrible memory and I've watched so many movies, not a ton. I actually watched a lot more when in college. I don't watch that many anymore. Actually, now what I'm really into is like series on Netflix. And I'm trying to think of ones I like. I like Suits, Scandal. Those are some things that I like to watch. Any tips on marathon training diet? Yeah, I don't really like to think of the word diet, but a lot of times I think when you're training hard, you're really tired, you're really fatigued. So I think a big thing that can help is doing um, meal prep. So on an easier day, prep all your meals for the week so that you can come in, and have those meals ready to go. You want to make sure that you're getting a lot of fats in. You want to make sure that you're getting a lot of proteins in. You want to, they have things that are high in iron. So, healthy lean proteins. You can do, things like molasses or chocolate have iron in it as well. So I think, getting all those things in that you need are a good thing. How does my team decide races? Is splitting up marathons a strategy? Like, would running with Shalane make things either having a teammate in a race? Yeah, Jerry decides on the races, marathons that we're going to do based on what's best for each individual. And if it works out that, like Amy for a while was going to do Chicago and I was doing Chicago and I was so excited because I was like, I get to train with Amy. And then actually Amy went to altitude and I didn't go to altitude. So we didn't even get to train together, even though we were doing the same marathon. So Jerry always looks at the races that he thinks, okay, this one will probably be best for this person. And he never really tries to team them up. And, we always have, you usually have somebody to train with anyway. So, Amy and I were in different locations, but I had some people here in Portland, like Emily, who was not training for the marathon, but she would do some of, parts of my workouts. So that was pretty fun to always have a teammate like that. It is pretty special. What's my biggest fear? And then, the question continues. Victoria said, what is your biggest fear as an athlete? When I read that, the only thing I can think of is my biggest fear is being a bad mom to Stanley. And I know that's maybe not what you're getting at, but that's definitely what it is. As an athlete, you a lot of times have to be very selfish. And having Stanley has allowed me to be less selfish, which is something that I love. But at the same time, there are times when I come home and I can't be on my feet and I need to be recovering and, I need to have that nap or I need to do this and that. And, so that really, I think is probably my biggest fear as an athlete is that I'll become too focused on what I'm doing for performance, which I have to do, and not be a good enough mom for Stanley. Will ever come run Boston? Hopefully, it won't be before 2020, but it would be it'd be really exciting. So can you talk about some of the specific workouts you did for the marathon during the last weeks leading up to the race? So I actually, during my build, the first couple weeks, the majority, I guess, then, I'd probably say 75%, we did workouts where I'd have about one workout a week, kind of long, 12 miles broken at race pace. And then as I got closer to the race, the workouts got less in total miles, but they got faster, which I really liked. I was like, finally, I can go fast. And I was surprised because I was a little nervous that I would have lost that speed, and if I actually had better speed, I'd say, than earlier in the year, which was pretty exciting as well. When we were doing those longer workouts, at race pace at the beginning of the build, we'd also one day a week do strides. So I'd go to the track and do 200s to get some turnover, some 150 builds. And I'd change, shoes for that and make sure that I'd get that speed just to have that turnover. Would you ever try a 5K or 10K instead of the marathon? For me, I'm focused on the marathon right now. And I think it's something that I believe I can be good at. I know I've yet to prove that, but I do have that belief in myself. Wish the Brewers good luck. Yes. Oh my gosh, they're playing right now. Somebody has to let me know if they're winning. It's game 7. This is I kind of blame Stanley for being behind on, I really love the Packers, the Brewers, the Badgers, but I have a hard time following because I try to limit my amount of turning the TV on so that I don't even know about these things. How do you get through long runs without getting bored or losing motivation? Thankfully, I'm with the Bowerman Babes and I have them to run with. And so that's really, I think, my biggest motivation. But if you're having a hard time, I suggest maybe, and you don't have somebody to run with, listen to some music or, as well, a lot of times you can run maybe like a loop and then put a water bottle down and break it up that way. And so you can say, okay, I'm just doing one loop, grabbing some fluids, that kind of breaks it up and then do another. Well, Pat and I created a cookbook. Pat has created a start of a cookbook. He has the whole first chapter, like all the breakfast recipes, all that done. He's working on pitching it to find an agent or a publisher. Do I think about having another child? I said this earlier, but yes, I am. We would love to have more children, but I don't think right now. I don't want to take a big long break in my training because I am so new to this sport of running. I don't feel like I can allow myself that break. So we've been talking about maybe adopting and then maybe going back to having another kid or just adopting. But we do want more children. Do I ever take rest days from training or do you do some sort of exercise every day? So this past 2 weeks, I've had the past actually 3 days, I've done maybe it's 2 days, taking 3 days of zero exercise right now. And, I think, in training in my marathon build, I didn't take any days completely off. But, some of those days were really short and a lot less. How do you keep your VO2 max after having a long pregnancy break? Was it hard to have long runs for the first time after pregnancy? Yeah, I mean, it was really hard to come back from pregnancy. And I think everyone's different. I was able to stay active through my pregnancy, which was really nice. But then when I came back, after giving birth, I had a kind of a rough birth and I had to take off 7 weeks, couldn't do anything. And, it is hard to come back, but people have those same struggles as well when they have injuries and things like that. And something that I think really was helpful was finding a pelvic floor PT to help just get all the muscles activated and working correctly again. Can you talk a little bit about your nutrition for the amount of training that I do? Yeah, I think when you're marathon training, you're just trying to get a lot of calories in. When you're running that much, you basically just need to eat as much as you can. And I actually was struggling on the long run days of getting enough food. I just don't think I could. And so we're making extra smoothies. We were trying to get liquid calories. And it was difficult at times, but what my biggest help with is having Patrick who can kind of cook up all those meals. Colleen wants to see Stanley. Well, Stanley is downstairs with Pat. I don't know what they're doing. The problem is I'm on my computer, and when Pat sees the computer, or when Stanley sees the computer, he just wants to press the buttons. And then sometimes things just disappear. Any advice for a college cross country runner who wants to get faster? Yeah, college is a hard time. You have a lot going on. It's a new scene. You're on your own for the first time. You're cooking for yourselves. I think a big thing that probably, at least this is what I think I was lacking in college, is the nutrition component. A lot of times you look at what other athletes are doing and you think that's what's best. And you really have to look at yourself and you have to learn to cook. Healthy foods, cook real foods, get a lot of healthy fats. And that can be difficult. So I think, look at your nutrition and then look at your teammates as well to help push you and to motivate you. Any recommendations on Nike shoes? Thinking of switching to Nike. Yeah, I mean, for training shoes, they have so many options. The Vomeros are a little bit heavier, which I like for an extra cushion, and then the Elites are kind of a lighter one that you can run in as well as the Pegasus. And then for racing, the Vaporflies are just incredible. I really do believe that they're a great shoe that helps with recovery and helps you run fast. What's the best way to get back to 45-minute 10K? You know what? Pat is asking me recently. He wants to do a 20-minute 5K, and he's asking if I can coach him to it. And I think the key is consistency. I think the key is running or exercising everything a single day, or at least 6 times a week, and not having, big breaks and having that you need one long run a week. You should do one tempo run a week and then one faster, shorter run a week. More questions. Here we go. Will I do another what I eat in a day? We have a couple recipes coming out, but it's not a what I eat in a day. So hopefully that'll just give you some good ideas of what to cook and kind of what we have. Any recommendations for getting rid of shin splints? I need to knock on some wood. It's not actually wood, but I haven't had too much trouble with those. But I have heard that like doing things like running backwards are good, icing, and just sometimes time off. It's really hard to take that, but sometimes it's just what you have to do. My next big race, no idea. Haven't even thought about it. My first step is getting back into running, and my first big workout, which will probably be in like 5 weeks. What's the max amount of rest days I think are appropriate per month? Depends. If you're somebody who is out there trying to stay healthy, are you trying to do a marathon? Are you trying to do a 5K? I think exercising a goal of exercising 4 to 5 days a week is a reasonable goal. And, on those days, having, an easy day, a tempo day, a harder day. I think having variety as well is key to do that. Favorite late night training stacks? Well, I don't know if you can call it late night, as normally I'm in bed before 9 p.m. I love going to bed early. But I love chips. We're having chips tonight with our nachos. I really am a big salty person. But I think the best thing before bed that I think is actually good and helps with recovery and it helps me sleep well is yogurt and some fresh berries. Why is the main man, Jerry, so secretive about the training? I don't think he's secretive at all. I think he maybe appears secretive. He doesn't like to be vocal on social media. He's somebody who I think he's a great coach because he really wants the athletes to do well, and he's not focused on himself having that. Pat, I have a hard time when you're talking. Sorry. He's, just focused on getting the athletes to the best that they can be. And for him, he likes to stay off social media. And I think that's kind of cool that he's just that invested in us. Do any trail running or technical running? We don't do a ton of that. We try to stay as healthy as possible, or not healthy as possible by not getting injured and rolling ankles and things like that. Stanley is the guacamole kid. Do I enjoy doing 5Ks and 10Ks in between marathons? I enjoy doing them just because I love racing. If Jerry told me I could race every week, I would, but I don't think that's the best way to get to be the best runner, and it definitely isn't the best way to become the best marathoner that I can be. So, I do love racing though, and so anything I can do to race is exciting for me. Do you have any advice for the aspiring high school runner who is considering running pro in the future? Also, do you have any advice for runners struggling with amenorrhea? I think we do have to look at a few things, especially when you're younger and you're in high school. Your body's changing, a lot of things happening, and your body can only do so many things at once. So if your body's growing and you're working out, and you're trying to get enough foods, if you don't have the right balance of nutrients going in, sometimes that can affect what happens. And the female triad, a lot of people talk about, and I really believe that you need to have a lot of healthy fats. And I would love to tell high school runners who want to become pros to not run a ton and to kind of just don't try to have huge miles early on. But that is advice that I definitely didn't take when I was in high school. When I was in high school, I loved swimming and I just wanted to swim. I had early release from school so that I could swim more. And I did all these things to be a huge swimmer, and then I actually burned out on it. I don't think that happens all the time, but I do think that can happen. And I think, making it fun early on is really important. And high school, I would say, is early on. So make it fun. Do it because you enjoy it. Do it with your friends and enjoy it. Do I miss racing more frequently? I felt like I raced a lot more this year than I was expecting. And for me, during the marathon build, I thought I was going to miss racing more than I did. I did about 10 weeks with no racing. And I kind of enjoyed that training. I looked forward to the workouts. I felt like those were my mini races along the way. How do you stay mentally tough through the marathon? Do you have any mental strategies to continue to race? For me, the marathon's a unique beast. You're doing the same thing over and over again for over 2 hours. And for me, what I did, I was struggling in Chicago from first mile. First mile was horrible. The second mile was horrible. And I had a lot more to go, 24 miles to go. So for me, what I did is I focused on the aid stations, which for me were every 3 miles. So I just said, okay, do 1 mile, 1 mile, 1 mile aid station. You can do that. All right, you can do this again. 1 mile, 1 mile, 1 mile aid station. It was kind of like a little check, a little break. Every time I had the aid station, I just kind of drank. I kind of relaxed. I'm like, okay, again, start again. 1, 1, 1. You can always do one more mile. And that's kind of how I break it down. Do you want cookie? How many times did you get tested for performance PEDs? I'm assuming it's performance enhancing drugs. I probably get tested out of comp. Maybe it changed, right? When I was in triathlon, I was probably getting tested once every 2 months. And now it's less. Every time I'm doing a race, I get tested, and then out of comp, it's maybe once every 3 months. Any tips on building mileage without getting overtired or sick? I think, with building running miles, the limiting factor is often our bodies more than getting overtired or sick. A lot of times you'll get an injury or a niggle or something will pop up. You got to go slow. A lot of times you want to start out with run walks and then gradually build. And a lot of times, I think once you get up to that mileage, your body adapts and you actually become stronger and it becomes easier. But you just need to make sure that you're getting up there slowly. What events did you focus the most at track when you were at high school? In high school, I didn't really run that much track. I did 2 years of track in high school, and I did like the 800 and the 4x4. I love the 4x4. Can you talk about Wisconsin when I switched from swimming to running? How does that transition compare to the switch from triathlon to marathon? I would say it doesn't really compare that much. Maybe it does, though. A big reason I switched from swimming to running in college was I wasn't good enough. I wasn't improving. I felt like I had reached my potential. And I guess that's similar in triathlon. I feel like I reached my potential and I wasn't enjoying it anymore. And I switched to running in college, and I had some immediate success, I would say, there. And switching to the marathon is something that I want to do, something I'm very passionate about. What challenges do I want to undertake after I retire? Career or bucket list? That's a good question. I'm trying to think of, I don't know. Maybe I want to do any challenges because I just challenge myself so much right now in sport. I want to just, all I can imagine after sport is spending time as a family. Maybe doing some motivational speaking or something like that, that would actually really challenge me, get me out of my comfort zone. I don't know. That's a good question. For me, I have long-term goals that I focus on, and I don't really think much past that. When is the next one? Marathon or YouTube? Marathon, no idea. YouTube, probably next week. How do I protect myself from the sun? Yeah, I do wear, Pat, there's been some requests for Stanley sighting.
Okay. Well, he's been kind of on his own agenda.
I do wear sunscreen. And I also like to wear hats and visors, and I think sunglasses are really important too, and underrated in running. Stanley, can you say hi? Everyone wants to see you.
Can you say hi? Hey.
Get the hat. Get the hat. Can you get it? Can you get it? Oh, Stanley, what was my longest run in training? It was 25 and a half, I think I did in this build. Or did I get up to 26? It was close to 26.2. When's the next live chat? I don't know. You guys leave some messages on my community tab about what time of day and what day of the week is best for you guys. Oh boy. You okay, big boy? He's okay. Traveling to a marathon in another state, how soon should I plan to arrive? And how much time should I plan to stay after? So I like to arrive beforehand, 2 or 3 days before, so that you can kind of get, there's also the time zone. They say 1 day per hour time zone change is what you should do. And staying after is completely what you want to do. Is there anything you want to check out in that city? Anything fun? Other people, friends you want to hang out with? I don't normally have time to do that stuff before a race. So after the race, sometimes I like to plan an extra day. Yeah, to say hi to everyone. Give me a hi or say my name, said the cookie ghost. LA2 Brewers won. Oh my gosh, Stanley, the Brewers have to go. They're down. Are they going to win? We got to take your Brewers outfit on. That is going to make them win, isn't it? If we change your Brewers outfit. Oh, what?
The knife is way sharper.
We got our knives sharpened today at the farmer's market, and Pat said it is way sharper. He asked me today if it was sharper when I cut something, but he forgets that I don't normally cook. And so I was cooking because I'm on, my mini break, and had no idea if it was sharper. How often do I take ice baths? I was actually taking some Epsom salt baths more, and then icing, I like to either do ice cups or, just a more localized icing. Do you have any advice for people who run every day? Can it be bad for you? I really do believe that our bodies adapt. So, if you run every day, your body's going to adapt, and it's actually going to be better, I think, than taking big bouts of breaks. If you take a big break and try to come back to running, that's when we're often liable to more injuries. How have you worked through your injuries that you have had? Yeah, I think that's the hardest thing is having injuries. And for me, I did a lot of PT, a lot of exercises, a lot of things to activate my glute, open up my ankle, things like that to strengthen. And that is what I've been doing. It's hard to read the questions then, though.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to
let's see. Stanley, there's so many questions. There we go. I'm back to where I was. Thanks, everyone, for your patience. Oh, Stanley, Bullwhip says that I'm a good mom. What do you think? Can I have a kiss? Thank you. Such a good one. When you're going to blow a kiss. Am I still connected with the Island House? I am. I am still connected with the Island House, and I feel very fortunate to have that sponsor. Mark Holowesco is actually somebody who sponsors me through the Island House. And the Island House, Polar, Training Peak, Sleep Number, all these sponsors stayed with me through my transition. Stanley, go get the car. Go get the race car. Go get the race car. Go get it. Go get it. You go get it for me? Yeah. Thank you. Do I ever get bored doing just one sport? I actually haven't, because I love running so much. I really do. It sounds weird, but there weren't many days that I was, in the afternoon, even when I didn't want to run, because it was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to run again. My body hurts. This is hard. I never really wanted to swim or cycle instead. I still would have rather run. How often do I run on concrete? Yeah, so most of my afternoon runs were on concrete. I really felt like once I built up my base, I could do that. And I don't think you need to run on concrete to prepare your body, but it's just easier for my afternoon runs to be able to run from home. Look at what Stanley brought me. Exactly what I asked him to bring. The car. Good boy. You want to come up? Whoop, come here. Okay. Are Pat and I planning a trip to Kenya to see the Kenyans? I really believe in Jerry. I think he's had a ton of success with runners and marathoners, and I'm excited to see where that brings us. And if he brings me to Kenya, I'll gladly go. But don't know. Patrick, will you ever run a marathon?
Maybe. I'm kind of got inspired to after watching Chicago.
He said he was inspired after Chicago, which I think is shocking. Look at this, Dan. Beep, beep. What's in there? What's in there? Oh, Stanley, come here. He hit his face. Come here. Oh, my boy. It's okay. Should we spin around? Ready? This is your favorite thing. Ready? It's okay. It's okay. You okay? Yeah, that looked like it hurt. Should we spin around quick? Oh. Is that funny? Is that funny? Oh. Okay. What is the longest tempo run that I did this cycle? Oh, Stanley.
You better get ready for nachos.
Yeah, I think we need to go. I'm so sorry, you guys. Thank you for coming on. Oh my God. The poor guy. He needs some nachos and some guac. So anyway, thank you, everyone. We're going to go take care of Stanley. Can you say bye-bye? Can you wave? Can you blow a kiss? Blow a kiss. Stanley, I would have loved to answer more questions, but I got to go. Okay. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it. Hopefully we'll get to your questions next time, right? Let's go have some nachos. Okay. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.